You didn't choose to be a winger, the game chose for you. You were fast. That's how it always starts. Maybe you weren't the best player on the field, but you could run. You could stretch the game wide. You had quick feet, maybe a bit of flair. So they stuck you out on the wing and told you the oldest lie in football: just beat your man and cross it in. Sounds simple until you realize the whole game shifts depending on whether or not you can. At first it's fun. You're the chaos engine. You pick the ball up with space. You can dance, dribble, accelerate. You feel alive when you've got a fullback in front of you and grass to eat. When you're young, the margins feel like freedom. You learn tricks, step overs, shoulder drops, the Cruyff turn. You start watching YouTube clips of wingers who turned the position into art. Robin cutting in on that left, Ribéry skipping past defenders like wind, a young Neymar humiliating grown men in La Liga. You wanted to be like them. But here's what they don't tell you when you start. The wing is the loneliest place on the pitch when you're not the star. It's the position where you're always close to the edge, both literally and in your career. Your job is to create, but also to defend. To beat your man one-on-one every time, then sprint 50 yards to track their overlapping fullback. To make something out of nothing, but only if you don't lose the ball first, because if you do, you're lazy, you're wasteful, you're a liability. You learn early that there's no mercy for inconsistency on the wing. Central players get second chances, wingers get benched. Your coach doesn't care if you almost beat your man. Doesn't care if your cross was good but no one attacked it. If it didn't result in a goal, it doesn't count. If you didn't track back fast enough, you're undisciplined. If you held the ball too long, you're selfish. You get typecast, you're the flashy one, the unpredictable one, the one who's supposed to change the game but never quite owns it. Even when you play well, the narrative stays the same. Raw talent, inconsistent, still learning. And you feel it, because your mistakes are loud. A missed pass that kills an attack, a dribble that ends in a turnover, a tackle you don't win that leads to a counter. One mistake from the wing and the ball's back in your box before you can blink. But still, you dream. You stay up late watching compilations of Hazard turning defenders inside out. You replay clips of Sané ghosting past three men like it was nothing. You study how Mahrez cuts in, how Foden picks his spots, how Leon times his explosiveness. You believe you can be that too, even if your teammates don't pass you the ball often enough. Even if your coach only sees you as a pace option. Even if every game feels like a trial you have to pass just to keep your spot on the bench. Because when it does work, when the dribble lands, when the defender bites, when the cross hits the mark, it feels like flying. Like the whole world opened up for one perfect second. And for a moment, you were the show. And that feeling, that's what keeps you wide. You used to love getting the ball at your feet. Now it feels like a test every time. Because now you're not just the fast kid on the wing. You're a system piece. You're expected to press high, win duels, create chances, cover your fullback, and still be the player who makes something happen when nothing's working. The pressure's constant. You don't get to play into rhythm. You have to deliver immediately. The ball comes your way maybe 6 times a game. You better do something electric with it. Blow past your man, thread across, force a corner. Every touch is judged. And when it doesn't come off, you get the look. From your coach, from the striker, from the fans. Like you're wasting their time. Like you were given the ball and fumbled the magic. No one talks about how hard it is to be predictably unpredictable. You're facing double coverage half the time. One fullback tight, one midfielder cutting your angles. You're tackled harder than anyone else. You take the most fouls, the least sympathy. If you stay down too long, you're soft. If you pop back up, they'll kick you harder next time. You're not allowed to show pain, but you feel it in your knees, in your ankles, in your hamstrings. The constant start-stop sprinting ruins your body quietly. The turf burns, the rolled ankles, the hammy tweaks. And still, the coach says, we need width. Translation, run more. And you do, because if you don't, there's someone younger, faster, hungrier waiting behind you. Wingers don't get grace. You've seen it happen to others. Teammates with all the talent in the world but one bad month and they're out. You miss a few sitters, have a few off games, and suddenly you're lacking confidence. You become a 75th minute sub. Then you're not on the bench. Then your agent's looking for a loan. One misstep and you're a highlight reel of what could have been. And then there's the mental game. You're told to play with freedom, but only in the final third. You're told to take risks, but only if they work. You're told to be creative, but only inside the shape. How does that even make sense? You're watching guys like Dembele dribble past 5 players and think, I can do that. But when you try it, keep it simple. You watch Leon blow by defenders with space to spare, but your fullback overlaps too early and crowds you out. And when it all falls apart, when the passes don't connect, the touch is off, the crowd's groaning, you feel like a ghost. You chase the game knowing it's pulling away. Wingers are judged by their end product, but you're still relying on others to finish it. You make the run, beat the man, send the cross. And when the striker skies it over, no one remembers the delivery. Only that nothing came of it. You're tired of being the almost guy. The guy who has potential. The guy who just needs to find consistency. You're giving everything you have to the game, but it's never enough. And the worst part, you still believe you're close. Because you have the moments, the one dribble kills, the laser cross, the match-winning assist. But in football, moments aren't currency. Consistency is. And that's the cruelest part of being a winger. You've made it, kind of. Maybe you're on a pro team now. Maybe you've worked your way into the starting 11. Maybe you've even had a run of good form. Fans know your name, your coach trusts you, your clips make it to social media. You've proven you belong. But belonging isn't the same as standing out. You're not Vinicius Jr., not Salah, not Bukayo Saka. You don't get one-on-ones with space and license to roam. You don't have the system built around you. You don't have defenders backing off because they're scared to go viral. You're not special enough to demand double marking, just inconsistent enough to justify rotation. You're the winger after the winger. You watch players like Leroy Sané and think, if I had that system, that support, that trust, you don't get 90 minutes to figure it out. You get 15 minutes off the bench and better make an impact or they'll say you disappeared. The game's different now anyway. Modern wingers aren't just flashy anymore. They're expected to defend like fullbacks, assist like 10s, and finish like strikers. You're judged by goal contributions, not skill. If you're not putting up double digits in G+A, you're inefficient. If your XG isn't high, you're wasteful. The flair they once loved you for, now it's unnecessary. So you cut back, you play safe. Fewer dribbles, more passes. You stop playing free and start playing to survive. And still, it's not enough. You look over your shoulder and see the 19-year-old in the academy tearing up the reserves. Fast, hungry, clean touch. Everyone's calling him the next big thing. You realize you were the next big thing. Not anymore. Your stats are decent, your heat map's solid, your fitness is sharp, but you're no longer the wild card. They know your moves now. Defenders double you, crowd you, bump you early so you can't turn. The space is gone. The joy is gone. And the pressure still there. Because you're not a guaranteed starter. You're not a marquee name. You're the type of player clubs replace quickly when the goals dry up. The fans don't chant for you. They groan when you don't beat your man. They forget when you assisted 3 weeks ago. You're doing everything right and still fighting to stay relevant. Even your body feels it now. The speed you relied on, not quite the same. Your hamstrings get tight quicker. Your recovery takes longer. You've started foam rolling like it's religion. You used to live for the sprint. Now you're praying your groin holds up till full time. And all the while, you keep watching the elite. Mbappe walks past defenders like they're cones. Martinelli tracks back 50 yards and still has the lungs to attack. Doku can drop a shoulder and shift from 0 to lightning in half a step. You're not that. You know it. Everyone else does too. You're a good winger. Maybe even a great one in flashes. But in this game, flashy isn't enough. Not when you're judged by moments you weren't allowed to create. You don't hear it at first, but you feel it. That half step slower on the takeoff. The delayed reaction when the ball spills into space. The touch that used to stick like glue, now just a little heavy. You brush it off at first. Blame the pitch, the weather, the boots. But deep down, you know, your legs are starting to betray you. Wingers live off explosiveness. It's not just speed, it's violence in your stride. Power in the first 2 steps. The gear shift, the deceleration, the ability to stop and go like a whip crack. And when that starts fading, everything else goes with it. You still have the vision. Still know where the ball should go. But you can't always get there now. And your coach sees it. At first, they start managing your minutes. Keep you fresh. Then it's coming off at the 60th. Then it's the bench. Then you're told you'll be playing inverted on your weak foot to exploit a mismatch. But you know what it really means. They're preparing someone younger to take your side. You watch tape and see yourself, same jersey, same number, but slower. Predictable. The guy you used to burn in training now blocks you clean. And fans, they turn fast. They used to call you electric. Now they call you finished. They forget the years you put in, the sprints, the sacrifices. They only see the stat line. You haven't scored in 6 games? You're washed. You misplaced 2 crosses? Bench him. They don't know what it's like to be hunted by younger versions of yourself. And your club? They're looking at options. Some kid from Brazil, another from Belgium. Fast, fearless, and cheap. The same way you once were. It's not personal, it's the position. Wingers aren't built to last. You're used, worn out, rotated, and replaced. That's the cycle. You could try to adapt, drop deeper, become more tactical, reinvent yourself like Di Maria, or switch flanks like Perisic. But if you didn't have world-class instincts to begin with, there's not much left to pivot into. So you cling to what you've got. A few highlight reels, a couple big games, some assists that matter. That one season when you were unstoppable. You keep watching those clips at night, not out of ego, but because you need to remember. Remember that it did work once, that you were feared once, and then the calls stopped coming. No more starting 11, just squad rotation, then free agency. Maybe a move to a lower league. You tell yourself it's to get more minutes, but really, it's just staying in the game because it's all you've ever known. You scroll through social media and see the new generation. Bold, flashy, fearless, scoring in their debuts. Doing the dances, getting the sponsorships, and you think, I used to be that. But now, you're just trying to keep your body from breaking down before halftime. And when the touchline calls your name one last time, and you jog over knowing the spark is gone, the question hits harder than any tackle ever did. Who are you without the burst? It's not the goals you remember most. It's the almost. The cutbacks that didn't connect. The one-on-ones where you slipped. The nights you ran your lungs out, tracked back, beat your man, delivered, and still, they called you inconsistent. You think about how much you gave the game and how quickly it gave you back silence. Because when you're a winger, the light never stays long. You were the one who played on the edge. Always wide, always stretching the pitch, always the spark. But sparks don't last. They flare up, burn bright, then disappear into the next moment. And football, it forgets fast. They remember the superstars, Ribéry, Robben, Bale, Salah, but the rest of us, we fade quietly, lost in the shuffle. Remembered by fans only when they scroll through old FIFA squads and go, oh yeah, he was quick. You weren't built to last. You were built to dazzle, to disrupt, to give defenses nightmares, until your hamstrings tightened, your acceleration dipped, and your tricks stopped landing. And once the burst goes, so does the belief. You stop dribbling like you used to, you play safe, you pass back. You protect the ball instead of attacking with it. Not because you're scared, but because you know one more turnover could be your last minute on the pitch. You learned the hard way. Football loves its wingers loud and young, not smart and aging, and even if you were smart, even if you evolved, you were never going to be like the legends. You didn't have Mbappe's top gear. You didn't have Mahrez's close control. You didn't have Son's two-footed finishing or Saka's icy consistency. You had flashes. And flashes don't make legacies. They make montage clips, temporary hype, maybe one season with double-digit assists and a fan chant that didn't last. That's what you're left with. Echoes. You sit now watching the new kids light up the flanks. You know their careers before they do. You know how fast it comes and how much faster it vanishes. You don't hate the game. You just wish the game loved you back longer. Being a winger was never about stats. It was about rhythm, flow, the dance between you and the fullback, the feel of the ball rolling under your foot as the crowd rises, the heartbeat of a crowd just before you take someone on. You gave people joy. But that joy came with a price. You lost your knees, your speed, your place. You were always on the margins of the pitch, of the spotlight, of the plan. And when you stepped off the grass for the last time, no one came to pull you back in. That's why it sucks to be a winger.